that Texas officials blocked Border Patrol from accessing the area. That's what was happening at that time.
And while they say that it's about Democrat-run cities, I do want to point out another similarity that they have. These are cities that are run by African Americans.
If you have an extra room or suite in your home, please consider hosting a family.
You know, unlike an international crime like genocide that involves a specific intent.
KJP in the White House completely lied about an entire situation, and now they're having to backpedal from it. The race card is played yet again. We'll get back to the Massachusetts story that we started in on yesterday before the live stream cut. And what else? Oh, the new term for ecocide. Actually, no, that is the new term. Has just dropped at the WEF, and we'll talk about that later on. First things first, got to get to this, because I think this is... it continues to blow my mind that this sort of thing continues to happen. First things first, I feel like this is not new, because I've said this, I don't know how many times on this show. KJP, Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary lady, is terrible at her job. I don't think, I have no, I mean, obviously I disagree with her policies-wise, but I don't, I'm sure she's a nice person. I'm sure she's, I don't know, interesting to hang out with, I guess. I don't know. But overall, just doing the job, she is bad at it. But surrounding that is this. On Monday of this week, we talked about a story, a tragic story, actually. And actually, I don't even remember if it was Monday specifically. But a couple days ago, we talked about a story where 3 illegal immigrants drowned while trying to cross into the United States of America. And while that is tragic, the White House put out information that they drowned specifically because the Texas National Guard didn't allow Border Patrol to try and go in and save them. Well, it turns out, according to Biden's own DOJ, that just flat out wasn't true. Somebody examined the documents that the DOJ submitted to, I think, the Supreme Court regarding the Texas federal government standoff, and in the document it shows, oh yeah, they arrived an hour after those people drowned. Now, while it is still tragic and terrible that the people drowned in there, I think it was a mother and 2 kids, which again is awful, the story being pushed by a lot of the mainstream media, and we'll read some of the headlines there, and also the White House, was completely untrue. Like, as untrue as it gets. What actually happened is this. Unfortunately, those 3 people did drown. That did happen. But the argument that the White House was making was that, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, or a couple days ago, the Texas National Guard is saying, look, you're not doing your job, federal government, therefore we're taking over and you can't come in. And the argument that the White House was making, not the argument, and the story the White House was putting out was that, well, Border Patrol was trying to go save these people, but the evil Texas National Guard wouldn't let them. Well, it turns out in the DOJ filing, the Border Patrol got to the park where they thought they were going to be able to go in an hour after they knew that those people had drowned. So, again, still tragic, but to make the case and the argument that, well, if only the Border Patrol wasn't being stopped by the evil Texans, they could have saved these people, is just a total 100% fabricated lie. Some of the headlines that came out of that are this. The AP reported, U.S. says Texas blocked border agents from entering park to try and save 3 migrants who drowned. What does that imply? What does that headline imply to you? Oh, it implies that, well, they could have had a chance to save them had Texas not been so evil. The Texas Public Radio website says CBP, 3 migrants drown in Rio Grande after Texas blocks Border Patrol from rescue. How did that story get out there? Oh, the White House was putting that story out. Well, here's what the actual filing said afterward. On January 12th, 2024, at approximately 9 p.m., Mexican officials advised Border Patrol that two migrants in distress on the U.S. side. Mexican officials also informed Border Patrol that 3 migrants, 1 woman and 2 children, had drowned at approximately 8 p.m. So, an hour before the Border Patrol knew about this, the Mexican government said, hey, these 3 people drowned. The Border Patrol agent then went to Shelby Park entrance and informed the guardsmen from the Texas National Guard stationed at the stationed there of the drowned migrants, illegal immigrants, and that the illegal immigrants immigrants in distress, who did not die. Speaking through a closed gate, the guardsmen refused to let the acting supervisor enter because they had been ordered not to let Border Patrol access the park. So, Border Patrol knew that those 3 unfortunate people had drowned. Then went to the park and said, hey, these people have drowned. After that, the spin on the story was that the White House then said, well, they were trying to save those people. No, they weren't. They already knew they had died. Okay. I'm going to play you a clip from KJP's press conference, and notwithstanding, she's bad at this job and bad at lying to the American people, which is her job. But this is how she answered it. It's rather long, but I think it's all pretty interesting. Check this out.
Will the administration then amend its separate statement that implied that Texas officials were responsible for the deaths of 3 migrants when, in fact, they had nothing to do with it? They had already been dead for an hour by the time Mexico told anyone in the U.S. about it, and the administration admitted as much in their court filing. They acknowledged that in their court filing, but the statement from the White House implies that Texas was responsible, and a number of outlets were forced to issue corrections and editor's notes because of that White House statement. So will the White House amend that statement?
So let's be sensitive here. 3 people died. 3 migrants died. 2 children and a woman. That was devastating. Devastating situation, heartbreaking situation. So let's be really mindful of what we're talking about here. I want to take a step back and just as you're talking about our statement, look, as I mentioned, a woman and 2 children died. They drowned near Eagle Pass, which is, as I said, devastating, and that Texas officials blocked Border Patrol from accessing the area. That's what was happening at that time. Our statement is consistent with DOJ's filing. As the DOJ filing said, there was an ongoing emergency situation that Border Patrol was blocked from accessing. There were other migrants in the water as well. But I'm just saying there was
separate.
There was an ongoing.
The White House statement the White House statement says that Texas officials blocked U.S. Border Patrol from attempting to provide emergency assistance.
There were other migrants in the water.
Then why wasn't that included in the statement?
There were other migrants in the water.
That's what you were referring to.
Our statement is very much consistent with DOJ filing. Anything else specific you want to know about that, I would certainly refer you to DOJ.
Okay, there's so many things going on there. First of all, I can't get over how bad she is at this job. Even though I disagree fervently with all of the policy decisions that the administration makes and therefore KJP pushes, just be better at the job, dude. What did she started off? Well, 3 people have died, so we want to make sure that that's the focal point or whatever, and then moves on to say, and like I said, 3 people have died, which isn't funny. I know that, and it's tragic for anybody looking at this story. But at the same time, dude, get your ducks in a row. You know how much preparation it takes to answer that question in a way that doesn't make you look like an idiot? Not much. It doesn't take much effort at all. And then goes on to double down, which is weird. I've never understood this in politics, and it's actually interesting because we're watching Governor Newsom in California try this out for the first time, politically speaking. Lefty ideas, lefty policies are almost always destructive, I think, to the general populace and the people as a whole. And rather than say, look, we made a mistake in our the way that we put that story out. We apologize. We've amended that to reflect what actually happened, and we look to move forward from there, which is fine. People are allowed to make mistakes, and the populace is more than willing, clearly, to forgive people who make mistakes. But when you double down on something that everybody else can see, it's not like we're all dumb and blind and just, oh, well, the press secretary said it, therefore it must be true. No, dude, we all know that it's a lie. So why then not just admit, hey, we made a mistake? And it couldn't, honestly, I don't think it actually was a mistake. I think it was purposeful and done in a way to make the Texas National Guard look bad. I think that was on purpose. But you could say, if you're gonna lie, lie better, I think is what I'm getting at. Like, if you're going to say a thing that is overtly untrue and everybody knows it's untrue and they can see in front of their face that it's untrue, tweak the lie a little bit to make it somewhat believable. I can believe, yeah, sorry, we made a mistake. I wouldn't believe it. I'd go back and look. But also, I don't know that the scrutiny would come if they just said, oh, sorry, yeah, we made a mistake. People would be like, oh, okay. The media, at least, would be like, oh, okay. I wouldn't be satisfied with that, but I don't think the media would jump onto that situation if, in fact, they just said, oh, yeah, sorry, we screwed up. I've never understood that about politics. Just admitting, hey, this is not, we did this wrong. Adam Schiff also tweeted something that posted something, X'd something that I'm not sure if I saved it. Nah, I didn't. Bottom line is, several people, including Adam Schiff, refused to take down the story or the tweets or the X's of the story that turned out to be completely phony. Even though a bunch of your media outlets had to issue corrections, Schiff tweeted a link to the CBS report that did have a correction in it, to their credit, but still has not taken down his own tweet that is overtly wrong, and at this point, he knows it's wrong. I don't know. What a crazy time. Let's see. Holy cow! Rambled on that for a little bit long. Let me get to this because I think this is funny and we don't need to spend a ton of time on it. LOL the race card. What I've learned is that playing the race card is the last vestige of hope that you may have if you're on the lefty side to get people to think that you're not doing the terrible job that you are doing. I realize that was a convoluted mouthful. But basically, the race card, in so many cases, especially with lefty policies, is the last-ditch effort to try and salvage some sort of respectability. And I'll tell you this, it doesn't ever work. This is Representative, oh shoot, what's her name? Give me a second. Pickett, I think? Not sure. Where the heck did all of my tasks go? Oh, here we go. Jasmine Crockett. That was kind of close. Pickett, Crockett? Kind of. Anyways. This is Representative Jasmine Crockett saying that, well, the reason... this is twofold here. Republicans in Texas and Florida aren't sending illegal immigrants just to Democrat cities. They're sending them to cities that are, you guessed it, let her explain it.
Republicans are yelling that states don't have the tools to help with migrants, but rather than work with Democrats, Republicans are targeting communities of color in Democratic cities like Chicago, New York, and Philadelphia. And while they say that it's about Democrat-run cities, I do want to point out another similarity that they have. These are cities that are run by African Americans. So while I know that they love to pretend as if there are no racial undertones, it is just striking to me that we specifically are going after African American run cities.
Okay. Look, and I don't even know how much we should take that seriously, because clearly, like we stated earlier, the race card is the last-ditch effort to salvage some sort of respectability to a position that you shouldn't have anymore because it's failed so miserably. I don't know. I don't know if this is worth even repeating. Nobody cares what your skin color is. This is either a good idea or a bad idea to be a sanctuary city and welcome everyone that wants to come and give them free shelter and cell phones and a bed and food and all this sort of stuff. That's a bad idea whether you're black, Asian, Latinx, which I realize Latinos that watch this show get really upset when I make that joke, but know that it's a joke. But to the point, nobody cares what race you are. A bad idea is a bad idea. If I decide to light a bottle rocket while holding the bottle rocket in my hand as tightly as I possibly can, it doesn't matter if I'm Hispanic, if I'm black, if I'm Pacific Islander, if I'm white. It's a bad idea. Bad ideas are bad ideas regardless of how much melanin is in your skin, which shouldn't have to be repeated as often as it is being repeated. Now, here's also a wrinkle. Okay, so maybe the voting populace there, which maybe, actually demographically speaking, some of these bigger cities have a higher density of African American residents. Maybe the residents in that area, regardless of their skin color, should vote for policies and leaders that espouse policies that aren't such bad ideas. You see, we hit J.B. Pritzker, the evil governor of Illinois, and he actually is evil. There are people on the Democrat side of the aisle, liberals, whatever, that I disagree with, but he is actually evil. Dang it, tangent on tangent on tangent. The Pritzker family, if you don't know this, by the way, are the lead funders of all of the experimental gender reassignment surgeries on kids. That's why he specifically is evil. Not because I disagree with him on policy, but because that practice in and of itself is, in fact, evil. Anyways, J.B. Pritzker, we hit pretty hard earlier in the week because he said we, Chicago, are the most welcoming state. We believe that migrants should have everything they ever want. And Texas, all they said, they didn't look at the racial makeup of the Illinois population. They didn't look at J.B. Pritzker and see that he was a white guy and go, oh, well, that's why. No, they said, okay, if you want to be a sanctuary city and state, here you go. Actually, maybe it's this. This is bad. Maybe, if we're falling in line with Jasmine Crockett's theory here, maybe also because they're sending a bunch of the illegal immigrants to Illinois, it's also fat phobia. As anyone can tell by a simple picture or video of Governor Pritzker in Illinois, the man has enjoyed several sandwiches and anything else in the room. But maybe if we go in the line of thinking of Representative Crockett, maybe it's not only racism, it's fatism, fat phobia. That's what's driving the Texas governor to send illegal immigrants to places that want them, according to their policies and legislation. I don't know. When are we going to get past the whole race card thing? I hope soon, because it's too ridiculous of a thing for a nation as smart and capable as we are. Let's get to this. I want to get to this. I know we kind of we covered this quite a bit yesterday, but also, if you were watching yesterday, the camera cut off and the stream cut out, and we just stopped because I don't know, I couldn't figure anything out. So I have no idea to the extent that people were able to see what was going on here. Wow, you know, some of the people in the comments section. I've mentioned that it's more difficult to read the comments, so I've like got them all like on the screen right now. Jody, Twinkie Pritzker, that's just not, that's not nice. Pritzker loves his Twinkies. Oh my gosh. It's, you know, well, leave the man alone. The man enjoys a meal every 30 minutes. Anyways, moving on to this. I'm not sure how much people caught of this yesterday as we were talking about this, but I feel like this is actually an interesting thing that I think, well, is more interesting than probably a lot of people are giving it credit for. If you missed this, the governor of I was going to say Massachusetts. That's not right. In case you missed this, the governor of Massachusetts a couple months ago said if you are able and willing to house an illegal immigrant family or individual, if you have a spare room in your house, please let us know and we will let them live with you. This is the lieutenant governor saying exactly that a couple months ago. But again, I think there's a wrinkle here that is being missed, and I actually think it might be a good thing. Watch this.
20,000 individuals in Bay State shelters. This is 80% higher than this time last year. Governor Healey's administration is now asking Massachusetts residents to help with the crisis.
If you have an extra room or suite in your home, please consider hosting a family. Safe housing and shelter is our most pressing need. Become a sponsor family. You can contact the Brazilian Workers Center for more information on how you can step up if you're willing to have an additional family be part of your family.
In the governor's letter to the federal government on Tuesday, she stated that the crisis is currently costing the state of Massachusetts $45 million per month on programs to assist the families.
Okay, hear me out on this. I don't think we need to go into all of the reasons as to why what was said there is ridiculous. If you have an extra room or an extra suite, consider housing an illegal immigrant family. Because that would be insane. No rational person would, with the thorough background checks they do on all these people at the border, and the, why can't I think of the term? The never-ending, no, dang it, now I'm just blanking and I lost my train of thought. The perpetuitousness, I think that works. The perpetuitousness of the longevity of the people staying at your house. In other words, these people's court dates aren't for 4 or 5 more years. So are you just going to plan to keep randos in your house for 4 or 5 years? Okay, so we don't need to get into all of the reasons why that's ridiculous. But I have a theory and a thought. Maybe it's ridiculous on purpose. Because the governor did issue a letter to the federal government saying, hey, this is unsustainable. We can't keep doing it. You need to figure out the problem. Maybe this in and of itself is a political stunt. 1, because of how crazy it is. 2, because nobody in their right mind would actually do it. But 3, because I looked on all of the Massachusetts websites, the government's websites, the Boston websites, everywhere that you could look to sign up to house an illegal immigrant family, I couldn't do it. Again, I looked at the state website, I looked at some of the local websites, I even looked at what did she say? The Brazilian Workers Center? You could go to the Brazilian Workers Center to sign up. You right now, if you wanted to, could go to the Brazilian Workers website and try to sign up to house an illegal immigrant family. There's nowhere to do that. I mean, maybe in theory, I guess you could send them an email, but they also have plenty of call to action buttons and forms and this and that, but none to sign up to house an illegal immigrant family. So that got me thinking, well, if it is ridiculous, and if nobody would do it, and it's not even possible to do it through any of the state's online applications or functions, maybe the point isn't to actually get people to house illegal immigrants. Maybe the point, and possibly even politically sacrificial point, is we want to draw attention to how crazy this has gotten. And the way to do that is to ask the residents of our state to do something so crazy that all of them go, what? And that maybe will get the attention of the federal government. Again, I realize I might be giving too much credit to the Massachusetts governor, but notice she wasn't the one that said it. That was the lieutenant governor that said the actual words. And I wonder if the governor had the lieutenant governor fall on a sword, politically speaking, by announcing something or saying something so ridiculous that everybody would roll their eyes for the purpose of gaining more attention to a problem that clearly exists. The people of Massachusetts clearly have a huge problem with illegal immigrants flooding into their state. So maybe the goal was never to actually get Massachusetts residents to house illegal immigrants. Maybe the goal solely was to garner more attention so that the federal government would alleviate the problem in the first place. $45 million a month is no small bill. And I would imagine, considering the need to balance a budget, the governor correctly is looking for any way to get the federal government to do its freaking job so that it doesn't make it so difficult on her or the people of Massachusetts. Maybe that's too optimistic. I don't actually know. But that is what it is. I want to get to this because this is another interesting thing. Some of you, you might be so wrapped up in this that you already know everything that's being said here. Others of you may think, who is this person and what is the World Economic Forum? The World Economic Forum, in a brief summary, is a big get-together of all of the powerful elites from around the world to try and decide how they can globalize the economy and everything as a whole and control you to help protect you. They're big-time climate activists. I actually went to the World Economic Forum last year in Davos, Switzerland. I think I had a video that went nuts. Because if you don't know this about Davos, or if you don't know this about the World Economic Forum, all of the big leaders of the nations around the world all fly in to this sleepy ski town in Switzerland on their private jets to lecture the rest of the world about climate change, which is so ironic. But here's the thing, and I guess you can find this video and watch it somewhere. Everybody kind of focuses on that. Well, there's a bunch of private jets that fly in and all these leaders get up on the stage and say, your gas car is the problem, after having just flown in on a private jet when commercial clearly is the best from an environmental standpoint. Well, the problem is the airport that they use to fly into Davos is 2 hours away. So they also, not only do they fly in on private jets, they have to then take helicopters into the bowl, the ski bowl that is Davos, Switzerland. Which is even more ironic than the already crazy ironic nature of flying in on a private jet and then telling everybody that that's, well, your Ford F-150 is the problem. Anyways, that's a brief synopsis of what the World Economic Forum is. It's a bunch of out there Looney Tunes people saying out there Looney Tunes things. And the new thing that is now going to be pushed upon, used by a bunch of the protesters, the Just Stop Oil people, that do so much good work sitting in front of semi-trucks. they're going to use is this word ecocide, which is a play on, which is not a fun term, but a genocide. They're trying to say that, well, a genocide is the active killing of a specific group of people, and it's terrible. Everybody admits, everybody knows that it's terrible. But killing the environment is the same thing, and we're going to give it a name, ecocide. Watch this.
I mean, ecocide as a word is becoming better known around the world, and the concept is generally mass damage and destruction of nature. But legally speaking, what our organisation and other collaborators aim to do is to have this recognised legally as a serious crime. Because one of the issues that sort of pervades all of this discussion is that we have a kind of cultural, very ingrained habit of not taking damage to nature as seriously as we take damage to people and property. And that, I mean, you know, if you're campaigning for human rights, at least you know mass murder, torture, all of these things are serious crimes. But there's no equivalent in the environmental space. And so, you know, unlike an international crime like genocide that involves a specific intent, with ecocide, what we see is actually what people are trying to do, what businesses are trying to do, is make money, is farm, is fish, is do all of these things that are, producing energy and so on, as well. But what's missing is the awareness and the conscience around the side effects, around the collateral damage that happens with that.
All right. I know that was long, and I understand it was a little bit drawn out. It actually gave me some time to read the comments, which there's one in there that is hilarious. We'll get to it in just a second. But that basically, the bottom line is that's the word that you're going to hear more often, ecocide. You're committing ecocide. Okay. And the correct response actually to that is roll your eyes, giggle, and move on. Just continue with the rest of your day, because until all of the big elite climate change people that think we need to stop flying their private jets into places, then maybe I'll take some of them seriously. I feel like, who is it? The Malay guy in Argentina. He flies commercial, which is funny. He says the people, the elitists that want you to stop driving a gas car because of climate change all fly on private jets. This guy Malay in Argentina says, drive whatever the heck you want. I don't care. The government shouldn't be involved in this whole climate change nonsense. He's the one that flies commercial. and effectively does a better job at saving the environment. I think that guy also went to the World Economic Forum and gave a speech, and I think I was considering bringing his speech on again. This is the president of Argentina, but it was kind of, it was all in Spanish. I'm pretty sure Argentinians speak Spanish. Is it Spanish? It's not Portuguese, right? Anyways, the entire speech was not in English, so it was cool. Reading the subtitles was cool. He was like laying into like, all you people are a bunch of nut jobs. It was awesome. But at the same time, it wasn't, I don't know, wouldn't have been the best fit for this show. The joke in the comment section, gosh dang it, every single day I forget to do that. The joke in the comment section came from Ryan, and I'm going to categorize it, regarding the Massachusetts story where they're trying to get people to volunteer their homes for illegal immigrants. Again, I'm characterizing what he said, but oh no, Joe Biden's going to volunteer the White House to house young illegal immigrant girls. It's not a thing to be joking about, Ryan. I feel like we've disciplined you several times before for your inappropriate and not funny jokes about true things. So don't. In the same way, in the same tone and timbre that Joe Biden says to Iran to not attack U.S. troops, I'm telling you, all of you people in the comment section who are making these untoward jokes, don't. That'll kind of do it. Actually, you know what? Hold on. This is not planned. I wasn't planning this, and this is also not super important. But I feel like I want to talk about it because just very briefly. So this morning, I'm getting ready to leave the house and come here. And outside my window, I see two dudes walking up my driveway, around my house, and into my backyard. And so, like, I'm like, oh crap, what's going on? I'm just telling you what I did. I grabbed a gun, obviously, and went out to the family room, and I told my wife, who was in the family room with our 5-month-old daughter, hey, there's two guys coming around the backyard. And she said, okay, yeah, there's also a guy at the front door. I said, okay, whoa, what, all right, let me figure out what this is. I go to the front door, I kind of peek out the window, and it turns out it's a guy from the gas company. I open the door, and he says, hey, there's, for the California Gas Company, and he showed me his ID, and he's got the whole thing on, and I see a California Gas Company truck out parked on the street. So it's legit. And he says, hey, there's a gas link. We need to get to your thing in the backyard and fix it to go to the alley. It was a whole thing. He kind of explained it, and I was like, okay, fine, but you should really knock on people's doors and ask that first before the two dudes are walking around the backyard. That is a great way to get shot. And seriously, I'm not like trying to I don't know, upplay it, but like in my head thinking, there are two guys walking around, and I saw the back of them in like, one was in just like a t-shirt and jeans, and the other one looked like he was kind of in like a black jumpsuit. Like, no way. You don't get to walk around my house and go into the backyard. That's not okay. Unless you get permission to do so, which I will happily give you if that makes sense if you're from the utilities company. But I don't know. I'm thinking of like writing an email to the SoCal Gas Company, because that's the monopoly that runs the gas companies out here, or just to all the utility companies saying, hey, pretty much everybody's more than willing to give you access to the area that you need access to, but you need to knock on the door first. Because especially in today's day and age, and especially in states like California, it's going to get somebody severely hurt unintentionally thinking that something is going bad. Because things are going bad all over the place. And the last thing I want to do is just assume, oh, that person that's walking into my backyard at 6 o'clock in the morning is probably from the utilities company. That's not the first thing that I'm assuming, and it's not the first thing that I think a lot of people are assuming, especially in this day and age. So, anyways, I don't know. That was just a weird thing that happened to me. I'm telling you, that is how you get shot. Do not do that, utilities companies. Knock on the door first. I will happily let you into the backyard. But for everyone's safety, make sure you get some sort of consent before you just barge into people's properties. Whew. Kind of a tense morning. But anyways, that'll do it for us today. Appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. God bless America.